Time being 6:30, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First is the bylaw to appoint Chris Eby as a member of council. Can I please have a mover and seconder for motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Smith. All in favor? The motion is carried. Okay, next is the declaration of office to council. Chris, can you please join me? And we'll read the declaration with your hand on the Bible.
Thank you. I, Christopher Eby, having been appointed to the office of councillor in the municipality of the Township of Red Rock, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truthfully, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, and I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing to be true and knowing that it has the same force and effect as if made in
Mark, if you want to come over. Sign.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Congratulations. Appreciate
Keep this in mind. Okay, first item on the agenda is the traditional territory acknowledgement, followed by a moment of silence. Council of the Township of Red Rock hereby acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of the Robinson Superior Treaty and that the land we gather on is home to the Red Rock Indian Band, the Anishinaabe, and Métis people. Administration advises that there are no additions to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Brand. Councillor Eby. All in favor? Motion's carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing none. First item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder for, to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councillor Brand, Councillor Muir. All in favor? Motion is carried. Time being 6:34. Good evening. Council, rising from closed session, council approved the closed session minutes from the February 3rd, 2025 meeting. Council discussed matters relating to the municipal code of conduct and security of the property on the municipality in the closed session. Okay, in open session minutes on the last regular meeting, February 3rd, are at items 5.1 on the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the minutes? Seeing none, may I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the minutes at 5.1? Councillor Muir, Councillor Brand, all in favor? Motion is carried. We have no resolutions from other municipalities. Okay, item 6.2 is discussion purposes regarding a supporting resolution from World Animal Protection. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Councillor Muir.
Yeah, I guess my preference is that I'd like to see NOMA or somebody else take a lead on this, Thunder Bay District Municipal League. If they start with resolutions, then we could support that as well. But I wasn't too sure about this.
Any other comments or questions on this?
So this was supported by NOMA, but that's how it kind of got to our table. But in saying that, it's the direction of council if we wanted to support it, as Councillor Muir states for Red Rock, but it already was supported at the NOMA level.
Okay, so I'll read out the resolution. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to support the correspondence and resolution for World Animal Protection in relation to provincial restrictions needed to restrict keeping of non-native exotic wild animals? Councillor Muir. Councillor Eby. All in favor? Yeah, okay. Motion is carried. Okay, next item 6.3, information purposes regarding a media release from NOMA. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Okay, seeing none. 6.4, information purposes from Thunder Bay District or DSAB on the homelessness prevention program advisory table. Do any members of council have any remarks on that? Councillor Muir?
Are they looking for members outside of the current board they have? I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, so why it comes through to us is if you look at the policy itself for membership structure, it talks about who can serve on the board. So it is members of the board, it's members of the district municipal council, it's also members of the general public. So that's why we're sharing it here. So so they're looking to comprise these boards. So they've advertised it on their websites, but they've asked us as municipal councils to share it as well. So yeah, it can be their board members, members of our council, as well as members of the general public that can apply.
Okay, can we just share it on our Facebook page for everybody as well too? It'll be in the minutes, and then if anybody's interested, we can do it.
Share it from the DSAB, what they've posted online.
Yeah,
Okay.
just share the DSAB through our Facebook page so it reaches our followers.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, item 6.5, information purposes from DSAB on the child care and early years advisory table. Do any members of council have any remarks on this? Councilor Muir?
Yeah, same thing there. If we could share that as well. I think there's a huge need for that as well in the area. So people definitely might be interested in that as well.
No other comments? No. Okay, next item 6.6, information or discussion purposes regarding to an open letter to local candidates from all political parties and their leaders from NOMA. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to support a resolution from NOMA in relation to labor shortages in Northern Ontario? None? Okay. Next item, 6.8, discussion purposes. Nope. 6.7. Discussion purposes regarding the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus support of Canadian and Ontario governments negotiating with the United States government on the trade tariffs. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I think this was one of those things too, where we're going to probably get some, because is this something that we should support now, or we should wait till we have all the municipalities together as one?
Well, I think again, it's a decision of council. I think you will see the support come from the organizations that blanket us, similar to NOMA, Thunder Bay District. But I also think the ask is that individual communities are sending in that individual support as well, because I mean we don't really know the effects yet of what is going to come through the tariffs. But I know, for example, I've already received emails and letters from suppliers that we will see change, right? As well as, you know, in our current water wastewater operations, everybody's already targeting the fact that tariffs are coming and are in place. So it could put a significant impact on our budget. So I think supporting them individually, again, is a decision of council, but
Samir?
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt to put a motion to support this and hopefully it builds up because at some point too, there's going to have to be some direction saying that, you know what, it's municipalities now can just freely purchase Canadian products only, you know, through the procurement process. Like we're going to need some, you know, some backing there too. So yeah, I think I'd like to put a motion on the table to support this.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to support the resolution from EOWC in relation to Canadian and Ontario government negotiations with the United States on trade tariffs? Councillor Brand, Mr. Muir, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, 6.9. 6.8. Discussion purposes regarding support from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. Do any members of council have any remarks on this item? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to support correspondence from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers regarding a submission to the Industrial Inquiry Commission? Councillor Brand. Councillor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item, 7.1, are the minutes from the Red Rock Public Library Board meeting on January 14th. Do any members of council have any questions? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item, 8.1, a report from the Community Development Officer. Welcome, Ashley. Okay, do any members of council have any questions? Ms. Davis, or would you like her just to go through her report a little bit? Just highlight a few items.
So if anybody was around the recreation center parking lot today, we had 2 light standards installed in the parking lot to improve both safety and nighttime visibility in the parking lot at the recreation center. They're similar to the lights that are on the side of the building, so they light down, they don't light out. So as you're driving around Baker Road, you may not actually see them until you're in the parking lot. So that just about wraps up our recreation center project. So there's 1 or 2 outstanding items. The actuator to get the accessible door on the Baker Road entrance, that's slated to be repaired next week. And then we just have the door hardware. So that will be everything wrapped up for that project. So for the next council meeting, we'll have a recommendation to award a company to change out the door hardware throughout the recreation center, updating some of the emergency exit door hardware, and just kind of making it a little bit more manageable for our staff to get in and out of the rooms within the facility. We had a successful bridge closure on the 11th and 12th. So they don't anticipate any more closures for the remaining work for this season. Our funding is through NORD, so it is very specific funding that we are only allowed to use it for road and bridge infrastructure. So the project for this one is specifically with Bridge 1 repair. So we do have 1 more fund slated until March of 2026 is when our funding will end for that one. So we'll be looking at another small portion of maybe $100,000 max of any kind of smaller pieces that can be done for the bridge to take full advantage of that funding that the community receives. Continuing to work on brochures, banners, just the regular projects that are ongoing. And the application for our recreation roof has been submitted. So with stage one approval, that basically means that everything up to that point can be funded. So we can start the RFP process and then just kind of wait until stage two funding comes in to actually move ahead to the next stage. So that's kind of where things are at for that one. This was sorry, I misspoke there. So this was a sole source for a specialized service. So that kind of speeds up our process for moving ahead. So once that stage two approval comes in, we'll be able to move directly ahead with actually repairing those roof sections. And the rest is just kind of continuing with my regular duties. So there was an item number 9, which is also included in the direction discussion and attachments portion, which is an active transportation fund. So you may recall last year we did have RJ Burnside and Associates complete an active transportation improvement plan for us. As the way the government works, they like to release funding to develop a plan, and then a year or so later, they like to release funding to actually implement the plan. So this was kind of what came from that, looking at some of our high traffic areas within the community. And with the funding being available, explored kind of what the cost would be to look at repairing some of those sections of sidewalk. So based off of the funding parameters with it being available and costing on what it would take to address those sections, I've just provided an overview of if we decided to move ahead with this project, here's what the breakdown would be in terms of overall project cost, what we would be requesting from the government for their portion, and then what the municipal portion would be. And I have further number breakdowns if council so chooses, or if they have any questions regarding our active transportation fund application. So this application does require a motion from council to submit it. And basically, we don't know if or when funding for infrastructure of this sort will be available again. So it's one of those situations where we have projects that are ready to go and wait for the funding to be open to submit an application.
Councillor Muir.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. Our infrastructure needs to be fixed, our sidewalks especially, in lots of areas. However, with the way the funding's working out here, in my opinion, is that if the 60% of the eligible funds, we're on the hook for 40, even though they come out of OSIF and CCBF, I don't think we're going to get enough to actually do full scope of a job. I look at it from this perspective. We're going to put lipstick on a pig. We're going to do a couple curves here. The infrastructure's still old underneath. We're not even fixing the roads. To me, I'd like to see some of that. Like if, for example, I think we're going to split the 79,000. I think if we're going to spend money, I think I'd like to see it go towards us doing something to generate revenue, RV park, etc. Definitely, I don't think this is enough to do what we need to do the full scope. But we need infrastructure fixed. But I think this is just not enough, and this is going to be a slippery slope on this one, where we get half done, and we're going to leave half of the infrastructure there unkept, and then even if we have to pave an easement, I think it's going to cost. Where our overruns, I think, are going to go high. So for me, I don't. It's one of those flash funding streams. I don't think it's quite going to cover what we need. So my opinion is that tonight I wouldn't support this. But I mean, again, like I said, we need this kind of stuff. It's just not enough, because that was a great study. It just didn't give us, it's not giving us what we need. What we need is to excavate the street, redo the sewer and everything too, right? So I think if we, for example, put those new sidewalks in, we get a break, we're in trouble. So that's just my thought. I think we can definitely look at getting stuff going, but we got to make some money too, I think. I really do, but.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Smith.
Just to kind of concur with Councillor Mayor, I kind of am in agreement with him as well. I do appreciate all the work that has been done. However, I don't think it'll be enough, and I think we should focus our efforts on trying to generate revenue for the township. So that's kind of projects where I'm kind of looking at right now.
Any other comments? Councillor Brand?
Yeah, and I concur with Councillor Muir. I would rather see us do a whole section, have it new, right? And rather than piecemeal. But I do appreciate everything you've done, Ashley, and you're doing a great job. And I appreciate the hard work that you put into this. Thanks.
So just for clarification, sorry if I'm kind of doing a similar of this nature. So, so this section looks at both sides of Salt Street. So when you're, I guess, what I'm wondering clarification from you is, when it comes to, I guess, kind of piecemealing or picking sections or what you would consider a section to address when it comes to infrastructure priorities, is what I'm looking for a direction from you. So this looks at one intersection to another intersection. Are you looking at larger portions of the community in that sense then?
Maybe, maybe you can just explain how much that the coverage is going to be. It says 500, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so this looks at 528 meters of sidewalk is essentially both sides of Salt Street from Taylor to the intersection over by the Cenotaph. Now, a couple of those sections have actually been previously replaced through RML when we had, or when they were doing work at the St. Hilary School. These would not be replacing the sections of asphalt driveway that have just been redone through the school board and through the St. Hilary's paving sections. There are also sections within the active transportation plan that identified the sidewalk as satisfactory or in fair condition. So this is only addressing the sections that were identified as poor and very poor along Salt Street. So that is about 528 meters, as well as those sections around to Steele, where it was probably about the end of the library driveway. So I guess what I'm hearing from you is you would rather wait until the entire thing would have to be done all at once, rather than addressing the sections that are currently safety concerns.
Just to clarify, like, so for the section that's being done,
Yes.
like if we're putting new sidewalks and curbs in, like to me, the capital planning part is that everything's broken up. We prioritize what sections we want. But at the end of the day, it's if we're going to put a brand new sidewalk and a curb in and we know there's infrastructure under there, tomorrow we're digging up a water line right in front of, like, it's just feet away from where we just put stuff in. So if we start putting new sidewalks, and that's the thing, because we have a lot of sidewalks that are in bad shape. But that's where the revenue comes into, right? So it doesn't always have to be funded, or it doesn't always have to be on the tax burden. If we get a revenue pot, a stream, we can start doing our own sections. But really, if we're putting curbs and stuff in at that time, it's when you put the new service to the curb stop and all that. So I just look at it from the standpoint, they don't give us enough. They do this every time where we have a beautiful study, we get a lot of money for studies, but then when it's time for the meat and potatoes to actually do the job, we should be really, by rights, every section we should be getting funded for and digging that street up and replacing our infrastructure. So we don't have water main leaks and everything else. So yeah, we need a good plan. Like this is a plan that needs to be like a 20-year plan, right? Here's the sections, here's the priorities.
Okay.
So when we're there, that's my thought. And it's going to take time. But again,
So-
you know, it's like, I just worry that we stick the money in, we go through this funding, we take the 79 out of the OSIF, the 79 out of the CCBF. We could take those two funding streams there and toss in 10 slots. You know, there's maybe 50 grand a year revenue for, you know, just thinking ahead, but a plan again, that's just but just thinking.
Just so you're aware, funds like OSIF are very specific on what that money can be used for.
Well, that's the thing too. OSIF, and I understand they're very specific, but at the end of the day, with the money that's there, like again, we had that repair, you know, $100,000 repair here, and then the wastewater plant's huge too. So maybe we just take a step back and look at, okay, so what needs to, because we're like, can these funds be used for the stairs at the library, roof portions of the library, operating, like things like that? Because I know that we've had issues with the stairs over there. You know, we've got parking lot issues. That door opener was, so just kind of step back and say, okay, let's, you know, like a good capital plan and prioritize. But I definitely think, like I said, priority is getting some revenue for the township and definitely seeing what we can do there.
It's definitely understandable.
Yeah.
I just like to remind council that when it does come to capital planning, we can have our list in place and it still will be just waiting for the funding to come through. So it's often referred to as running around with buckets waiting for the rain to fall. So we've got projects that are ready and waiting to go, and we're just waiting for them to open up the tap to release the money to do it. And it's often the case of when the funding's available, take advantage of it for your most extensive areas that need to be addressed. So just, I thank you for your feedback and hopefully keep that in mind as we're moving forward with some of the other capital projects that we need to address throughout the community.
Councillor Smith?
Just to kind of emphasize too, I understand, yeah, this funding, to catch it, catch the water. However, what I don't want to see happening is us doing that.
Mhm.
And then all this money comes in at one time, then we have all these projects where we
Yeah.
may have to fund first, and then we're gonna run into an issue, how are we gonna get enough money to fund it before we get reimbursed?
Yes.
I get, it's kind of crappy that but I'm gonna say no. But I don't want to put us into a position later, one that we have all these capital projects happening at one time, and we kind of had something almost similar just happen. But also, I would like to see our resources put more in revenue.
Understandable. Any other comments? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Brand, Councillor Smith. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to submit an application to the Active Transportation Fund Capital Project Stream for the replacement of sidewalk sections and curbs along Saul Street and Steel Avenue, along with the painting of crosswalks and purchases of benches and bike racks? The project has a total value of $439,930 with a funding request of $237,792, 60%. And the Township of Red Rock providing the remaining 40% through its CCBF and OCIF funds. Against? Okay, motion's defeated. Okay, thank you, Ashley. I should have put that on. Okay, next item, 8.2 is a report on administrative activities. Do any members of council have any remarks? Mr. Figumi. Maybe just go to the discussion and
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, the summary of activity is pretty self-explanatory. It kind of covers some of the duties since the last report. So if you go to direction, discussion, and updates, again, a lot of the top ones are just simple reminders. I can update a few. The provincial election, February 27th. It's been a bit chaotic with some of the back and forths with the province to secure a location. I can report, and I think last meeting reported that it was going to be here, and there was going to be multiple evenings. That was not the case. That was corrected. It is still here, and there's only one voting day. So February 27th, the provincial election will take place here at the Marina Center. So just wanted to make that clear. Last meeting, it was a request to reach out to Mr. Di Gregorio at Bruno's. He is out of the country, and he says he would welcome the opportunity to come and speak to council, and we've tentatively scheduled him for May 5th. So that is done. When we bouncy castles and chairs, I've had some interest in the bouncy castles. We no longer use. Just looking for council's approval to move forward and bring those through a sale process as a surplus asset. The request that I do have was a straight purchase, but Is council okay with the declaration of surplus through that process and we'll go that way? Or would you just take an unsolicited offer? I guess council can do either, but generally speaking, the surplus asset is our procedure to go. So I can bring those back for that process. Red Rock Volunteer Fire Department van, we had put this through the declaration process previous. We received 2 offers. Highest offer was $500. We decided at that point to not sell. Council decided to not sell. And we had put a plan together that it could be also used as a good storage unit, which it still can. But there's some fab work to do. It's got a soft roof. We would have to build a roof on it. If council moves forward with the purchase of the new vehicle this evening, it becomes something that we may not really require, and it more than likely would sit and rot. So in saying that, we did receive an unsolicited offer this week in the amount of $3,500. It's an unsolicited offer from a company in the Greenstone area that operates as a service station. My recommendation to council would be we've gone through the surplus process, and $3,500 is a pretty good value. I don't think the longer it sits, we're getting nothing for it. So with the direction of council, I would reach out to that individual tomorrow and sell the van for $3,500.
Councillor Brand? We'll just do the van run right now.
For the, so if we were to put a roof on it, what would we be looking at for cost? A few $100?
Well, we didn't even look at the, we would put a tin roof on it at that point. I don't know. We didn't get into the value of looking for it. But we could look at that.
No,
If-
I was just curious if you had a rough idea about,
Well,
less than,
it would probably cost you at least $500 to put a
okay.
roof on it.
okay.
Again, then you'd be having to do a bit more work to fabricate it.
yeah.
I still think the offer, I mean, at $400 or $500 was not worth it,
No,
but at $3,500 for a truck with an engine that that won't move the truck, I think it's a pretty good offer.
So we don't have to go back to advertising it again. We've already done it once and
That's a
right?
decision of council. That's why it's in front of you this evening. So you
Okay,
can make
okay.
that decision tonight. If
Okay,
you want it to go back to surplus, we could
but we
certainly do
wouldn't
that.
have to. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Mir?
I think the sentimental value of that van alone, it's hard to want to sell it because for years it's driven around. I don't know how many people have driven in that van, but $3,500 is a pretty sweet offer. But yeah, it's going to be sad to see that thing.
Well, I think the amount of times that it's broken down on the fire department, they're ready and willing for it to go. So I think the direction by us nodding our heads that sell for the 3,500.
The next one is an email that each of you received, and I just wanted to bring it to the attention because to each of you because you all received it. It was an email for the township to support the social and economic prosperity review resolution. We've already done that. So I just wanted to bring that to council's attention. I mean, we could do it again if it was the direction of council, but we've already taken that process and then I know they reached out to all of council. So that has been completed a long time ago. The last one was just the OPP Detachment Board inaugural meeting. I'm not sure if Councillor Muir wanted to speak on anything there, but anyway, the minutes will come to council. We're just waiting for approval at their next meeting. So this first meeting, there will be a transition of minutes that aren't approved, and then we'll bring those minutes to council for each meeting after that. So Not sure if there's any more questions of council, but I think I've.
Counselor Brand?
So my first question is regarding the elections. Is there an advanced poll at all going to be held here?
No,
No,
Red
no
Rock
advance.
will have one
okay.
date. Yeah.
And then my second question is regarding the bouncy castles. Are we not renting those any longer?
We haven't been renting the bouncy castles for about a year now, maybe more, at the direction of our insurance company, and that was discussed at this council table.
Okay, so it's insurance reasons.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Muir?
Yeah, just the further on the OPP detachment board. So the purpose of the detachment board is governance, and we're looking for comments too from the public for sure about the police service. Bringing feedback back to them. So it's about building strong relationship with the OPP and the community. So yeah, the next meeting is Thursday. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, they can reach out and we can go from there.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Counselor Smith? Counselor Eby? All in favor? Motion's carried. Next item. 8.3 is a report on the purchase of 2 vehicles for the Public Works Department and the Fire Department. Do any members of council have any questions? Counselor Eby?
And I apologize, process question. Was there in fact a comparison quotes from different suppliers?
Yeah, so we'll take it back a bit. Originally, the intention in the discussion of council was to purchase one new truck for the fire department. So we looked at that. In the meantime, and through the 2024 calendar year and into 2025, we've had some significant issues with our fleet. So we looked at the option of purchasing or requiring 2 trucks. So we looked full at the new options. We also looked extensively at used. So we've compared numbers with multiple locations. In saying that, there's not a lot to when you're into specialty vehicles. So these are 2500 HD trucks, they're fleet vehicles. We looked at this from the perspective that we can, in essence, buy 2 very good vehicles for the price of 1.5 new vehicles. So to answer your direct question, we have done the comparables. This is the best deal that we could find. And again, it's completing a direction of council from 2024 to purchase the fire truck and then to add an additional fleet to our public works department.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to have the confidence and due diligence, and you've demonstrated it.
Mark, can you tell us a little more about the trucks?
Yeah, so the trucks are 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 pickups. We were able to speak with CCBF, which is one of our funding models, our annual funding models. So a fire department unit is eligible for funding. We were able to establish that through some discussions. There's been some recent additions to the CCBF program. So yeah, and I think we're getting both the Public Works lead hand and myself inspected the trucks. We're getting 2 very solid units. I have no real concerns with condition. They do have a balance of factory warranty. They also have powertrain warranty. They're fully certified. They're undercoated. They're in good shape. So I'm confident with the purchase if that is the direction of council. And I think we gained 2 new to us units, and we take an approach that's maybe a little different, but it enables us to build a solid fleet by buying pre-owned vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the purchase of one 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 LT for the Public Works Department to be funded through the 2025 capital budget, and one 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 LT for the Fire Department to be funded through 2025 CCBF funding in the amount of $64,495 each plus HST. Counselor Muir, Counselor Eby, all in favor? Motion's carried. Make sure we have those Red Rock Township stickers ready.
Yeah, we'll have stickers on order and we'll have them hopefully ready to go. We'll probably be able to work on these as early as tomorrow.
Great.
And get this delivery in place very shortly.
Okay. Next item, 8.4, is a report on the offer to purchase property at 12 Red Rock Road number 4. Do any members of council have any questions on this? No, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the sale of 12 Red Rock Road number 4 to David Stenlin in the amount of 30,000, including HST? Councilor Muir. Councilor Eby. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, 8.5, report an offer to purchase property at 33 Highway 628 at parcel number 1, Highway 628. Do members of council have any questions on this? No? Is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the sale of 33 Highway 628 at PCL number 1, Highway 628 to Daryl Splett in the amount of 25,000 plus HST and administrative fees? Councilor Brand, Councilor Muir, all in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next item 8.6 is a report on the appointment of the new DSAP representative. Do members of council have any questions on this? Right into the fire. Okay. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to appoint Councillor Eby as the new Red Rock Nipigon Dorian representative for the DSAP board? Councillor Muir, Councillor Brand, all in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you for taking that. Next item, 8.7, is a report on the new library board member. Do any members of council have any questions? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the appointment of Kathy Chappelle as the new member of the Red Rock Public Library Board? Councillor Smith, Councillor Brand, all in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you to Mrs. Chappelle for that. Next item, 8.8, is a report on the biannual bridge inspection. Do any members of council have any questions? No? Is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the proposal from JML Engineering to perform the 2025 bridge inspections in the amount of 10,500 plus HST? Engineer, Council Smith? Yep, thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Give you the side eye. Okay, next item, 8.9, information purposes only relating to the report from the ombudsman. Do any members of council have any questions? We have the report in front of us. Oh, Councillor.
I didn't know how high to put my hand. I just have a question here. I know it's the previous report that it spoke to, and this one about creating some policies. Are we in the process of creating those, the ones that they did suggest? Top of my head, I can't remember what they were, but I did remember reading them.
Yeah, so this process has been ongoing for a while, some time. This is an additional step in this process. So the Office of the Ombudsman investigates complaints against the municipality, the CAO, the operations. You'll see that this report was then asked and directed to be shared in an open session this evening as step one, which will then lead to the policies being presented to council and the recommendations for change. So they are being worked on. They are being developed. And what the direction is you'll see a trespass policy that'll set out parameters. You'll also see what they're calling an R zone or a respect zone policy for the community. I mean, some highlights of the report. I guess I can report that as the CIO, I am working very closely with the ombudsman. We have a good relationship. You do see the highlight. I mean, it kind of talks about what the authority and the role of the ombudsman office is. It also states clearly that the ombudsman cannot overturn the decisions of elected officials and does not act as an appeal body. When problems are identified, the ombudsman may make recommendations or share best practices with the municipality to improve its process. It talks about the review and the analysis, and I mean, without getting into too much of the details, what this complaint against myself and the municipality is. It talks about information on best practices. I mean, one of the highlights, in Ontario, municipalities have the right to prohibit or restrict entry onto municipal property in accordance with the Trespass to Property Act. And then it goes into talking about policies that we need to develop. It does also highlight a previous ombudsman report that was related to the Township of Red Rock back to 2017. So as a guide used for most for all municipalities. So again, we're working together with the ombudsman at this time to include and develop and publicize a policy on trespass notices, service restrictions, and what they call respect zones for a community. So I don't know, I can field any other questions, but that's really a summary on where we are in the process and where we still have to go.
Councillor Brandt?
So I don't know if these questions can be answered, but the report that he's speaking about happened in 2017. There were two recommendations, 10 and 11, that speaks to the trespass policy and creating and implementing a policy designed to conduct members of the public and how they should. So I'm just curious as to why we've waited on this so long. Had maybe previous council or us earlier in our term responded, we may not be in this situation. This is a repeat scenario of pretty much what happened in 2017. We're 2017, a lot of money was used taxpayer money was used for this, and now we are once again using taxpayers' money for this new scenario. So I'm just curious as to why we haven't acted on this sooner.
So I will speak to that since I'm the only one here from previous councils. I can say we have gone through 3 other CAOs and there was apparently no appetite for it, right? So the CAO at the time of 2017 should have dealt with that. And I could only assume, because that was never brought back to council. And further on, we've had two other CEOs, and then we have our CEO right now. So total different situations. So I'm not going to get in, we're not going to get into specifics of that, but these are different situations. The trespass notice does not come lightly. So basically, everyone assumed, I would think, that when you update your harassment policy and all of that, code of conduct, that would be enough. So I could only assume like that was the reasoning for it. So now moving forward, I'm glad that we're doing this. It'll be more transparent. So people will know if there is an issue with trespass notices or restrictions or the R zone, that somebody has gone too far in going down our policies. So, you know, we have this recommendation now from the ombudsman. We're going to move forward with it. And I think it's best practices. That's what it says in the report. So I think based on those recommendations, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to get some policies brought to us. And that's all I can really speak to that. Okay.
So in the ombudsman's letter, he does ask for a response by November 8th. Did we provide that? And if we did, is there a reason why us as council hasn't seen it?
Yeah, I'm not sure through you, Mayor Robinson, if we're getting very close to some closed session material here. But I would like to answer the question and then. So, yeah, I think we should go into closed session. I think that's, I think that, I mean, but to answer the question,
yeah,
council
so
has,
that's-
council has seen this document and seen the response. You've seen the response.
Can I put a
Okay.
motion in, Mayor Robinson, to go into closed session, please?
Okay. Okay, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to go into closed session under the authorities as goes into an identifiable individual? So that's already in the agenda. Councillor Muir, Councillor Brand. All in favor? Motion's carried at 7:56. So rising from closed session at 8:26, council discussed matters identifiable individual. Okay, next up, we have unfinished business. There is no update on that. No, we'll just do that. No. Councillor Brand.
At the ombudsman report, I asked an inappropriate question targeting
Relating to an identifiable
relating to
individual.
an identifiable individual. My question was inappropriate at this time, and I would like to just make that apology to. I would just like to make that apology and to let the community know that that was inappropriate for me, and that behavior of inappropriate questioning will not happen again. So my apologies to the identifiable individual and the community.
Thank you. Okay, next item is the confirming proceedings of council. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to pass the bylaw? Councillor Muir, Councillor Smith, I seen your arm. All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, next meeting in council will be on Monday, March 3rd, time being 8:28. No further business to attend to. The meeting is adjourned.